Hi, it's Florian, and in this video I'm going to talk about the personality traits that someone has who finished and achieved a PhD that help him in his future career. So what are these personality traits? The number one thing that helps you in a career is your IQ. It is how smart you are. Usually things are very complex. You have to combine a lot of things. You have to learn things quickly. And the IQ is a very good predictor of success in your job, and the number one predictor scientifically. So if you have a PhD, if you achieve a PhD, usually you have a quite high IQ, and that helps you. And thinking about that, IQ is a very bad thing. It's a very unfair thing, I would say, because you're not responsible for IQ. It is actually something that is given to you by your birth and maybe a bit by how you were brought up, but you can't go over it. So IQ is measurable, it's repeatable, measurable, it is hard to influence, and you cannot raise it above a specific level that is individual to everyone. So if you manage to do a PhD, and if you know or are aware that you have a quite high IQ, that is not something that you are responsible for, but it is something that will help you a lot. So that's the number one thing. Usually you're a smart guy if you achieved a PhD, or if you're currently doing one and will finish it. You are smart, that helps you. Number one thing. Number two thing, only a high IQ of course doesn't help you a lot if you are not frustration tolerant. So what a PhD does is it separates people who have a high tolerance to frustration from those who don't. Because a PhD is a frustrating thing to do. You fail a lot, you are on your own for most of your PhD, and if you fail, it's your fault, no one will care. So you need to be very frustration tolerant. You need to be very low in something called neuroticism. So your mood swings must be very, very low. You don't go from, oh, everything is great to everything is bad and back to everything is great again, because that will actually kill your performance. And usually a PhD has the ability to deal with this frustration, which is common to everyone, but dealing with it is not common to everyone. And that is something that helps you in your job, because a job also can be frustrating sometimes. And if you have a PhD, you've proven, not to the world, but especially to yourself, that you have a frustration tolerance that might be higher than the frustration tolerance of others. And that will help you in your job in the future. The third thing that will help you in a job is that actually a PhD is something you don't really have to do. You can get a master's degree and go to work. So the question is, why do you do a PhD? And the easy answer is because you want to. Because you aim high. You aim as high as you can aim. You're not satisfied easily. You go over your borders. You go as high as you can. And not only that you try to do it, you actually achieve it. So you aim high and you deliver on it. That is something that is very, very important if you want to be successful in your job, that you aim higher than other people do, and that you deliver on your aim, that you don't fail, but you achieve what you aim for. And that is something that is also common across PhDs. They aim higher than they would have to, actually. They can leave before they have a PhD, but they don't. They decide voluntarily to stay, and they achieve it. So, third thing that helps you is you aim high. And you would think about it, if you have a smart guy with a low frustration, with a high tolerance to frustration, who's aiming high and delivering, that is something that sounds like a career guy to me. So that is something that really sounds like a career. But there's of course always a negative side on things. So you can actually be a smart guy, high in frustration tolerance, and aim high, and still be a nerd. And if you are a nerd, and maybe someone who likes to sit in his basement and just do stuff, and are not good with talking with others, and not good in being emotionally open to others and being able to speak to them, then you won't have a career. So only a PhD doesn't help you, but it will support you, of course, because the personality traits you have are some that are very important and not very often found in the public in this combination. It will help you to achieve a career. It doesn't mean that you can't have these traits if you have not a PhD. That is, of course, also a possibility. But if you have one, you have basically proven that you have these three traits. You have not proven that you're not a nerd, which is something you should maybe ask yourself, that you should prove to yourself. And you should always be thankful for your IQ, because that's something that you are not responsible for, and that you should be aware that there are people who have a higher one and who have a lower one, and you might be on some kind of the high end, which is good to know, but not something that you're responsible for. So these are the things that you need to learn about personality traits. If you're interested in this topic, it's a very good idea to study a bit about the so-called Big Five, which is a set of 5 personality traits that every one of us has. It's measurable. It's not like an IQ repeatable measurable, but it's something that you should get into if you're interested in psychology, maybe also in yourself, maybe also in your in how your personality impacts your career, impacts your salary, impacts your life in general. Very, very interesting stuff. Read about it if you're interested a bit more. I can also make a video. Just post in the comment if you would like to have one about the Big 5 personality traits. If not, it's also fine. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe, and have a good day. Goodbye.